Hey everyone, my name's Alex, also known as You Bloody Beauty, and I am a special effects makeup artist. Today I'm here with Costumes.com.au to show you guys how you can recreate a realistic looking bruise using Mehron's Bruise Wheel. So Mehron's Bruise Wheel is a cream based makeup. There are 5 different colours on the bruise wheel. So this allows you to create all different types of bruises at different stages. So in order to create a realistic looking bruise, it's really important to understand kind of the evolution and the different stages a bruise goes through. So as the bruise ages, you'll probably notice, if you've gotten a bruise before, which I'm sure you have, you'll probably notice it kind of changes colour throughout the duration of you actually having the bruise. So when you first get hit or get an injury, you'll probably notice that it goes red straight away. And that's because when you get an injury, fresh oxygen-rich blood starts to pool underneath the skin. So that's that colour you start to see. Then after around 1 to 2 days, the blood starts to lose its oxygen and then it starts to change colour again. And so this is when you start seeing all of your, like your blues, your deeper reds and your purples. And then after about maybe 5 to 10 days, it changes colour again. So then it goes more to, we call this a healing bruise. And so that's when you kind of start to see all of your greens and yellows and then maybe even sometimes a really light brown. So the brightest red in this bruise wheel is to create fresh looking bruises. The darker red, kind of maroon colour, and dark blue will create an older looking bruise. So these two here. And then your green and yellow, that's when you start to see your healing bruise. So that's like a really old looking bruise. So to use Mehron's Bruise Wheel, you're gonna need either a brush or a sponge. You can also just use your fingers as well if you don't have any of these. Another really handy tool to use is a stipple sponge. So that's this one here. And that just creates lots of different textures. So that's really good for creating kind of like broken capillaries. But if you don't have a stipple sponge, what you can do is just with a normal sponge, you can just kind of rip it off in little bits and then you'll still create that kind of rough bumpy texture, which will be really good for creating those broken capillaries. So for this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to create all different types of bruises. So those 3 stages of bruises we talked about earlier. So to start off with kind of like just a fresh bruise that you've just kind of been hit. So like I said before, for a fresh bruise, you want to be using that brightest red. I'm just literally just dabbing the product with the brush. You don't want to get too much on. A little goes a really long way. So I'm just kind of stippling the colour on. And then also using my finger to smudge it out. And then you really don't need to do too much else for a fresh bruise. You can kind of go in with those little latex sponges we talked about before, but that's pretty much it. So if you're just wanting to create a fresh bruise like that, you can just use a translucent powder over the top and that's you done. So now to create a older looking bruise, I'm going to try and make this kind of like maybe like a black eye type bruise. And I'm just taking the same brush again. And so this time I'm going in with these colors here. So that kind of dark maroon and that dark blue. Just taking the smallest amount of product. And I'm just placing that darkest red in the socket of my eye and just kind of sweeping that outwards. And now I've just taken some of that dark blue as well, just to really deepen the colour of the bruise. So you'll see here that I'm just going in between the blue and the darker red and just making my way around all of my eye. And then I'm just kind of going in between using the brush and then also using my finger just to smudge it out. So that's your kind of a couple days old bruise. Black eyes look really good with that kind of like broken capillary effect. So I'll go in with the stipple sponge this time. I'm just going to go into that kind of deeper maroon. So see how it just kind of creates that effect of broken capillaries? And then you can just kind of blend out wherever you think it's a bit too heavy. I kind of think this kind of bruise is what's recreated the most. So yeah, that is pretty much your a couple day old bruise in a black eye. I'm gonna look bloody beaten up at the end of this video. So now moving on to our healing bruise. So I'm going to be using the green and the yellow for this one. I've just taken a new brush because this is a really old bruise, so there's probably not going to be any of your like reds or blues or anything like that. So I'll create this one maybe just up here. So this time I'm going to be even lighter with my coloring, just because we're assuming that this is a super old bruise and it's nearly healed. So I'm going to go in with the green first. So like I said, I'm going in with the green first, and I'm just being really gentle, just really slowly building up those layers, using my fingers to blend it out, and then going in with the yellow more around the outside, and then doing the same again. So just stippling that on and then blending it out. And that is your healing bruise. So as you can see, it's super light compared to, I mean, this we're assuming we just got hit. This is kind of like a couple days old. And then this is your, 5 to 10 days old bruise. So that is it, guys. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Also, let us know in the comments below what kind of special effects tutorials or maybe even just character looks you guys want to see next. Yeah, bye guys.